You know, every once in a while, a book just comes out of absolutely nowhere and becomes a total phenomenon. I'm not talking about a massive marketing campaign or a big publisher push, just a story that connects with people on a really, really deep level. Today, we're going to dive into one of the biggest surprise bestsellers in recent memory, a book that's as much of a mystery as its quiet main character.
Okay, first, just look at the numbers with me because they are staggering. On Goodreads, a whopping 72% of readers gave this book a perfect 5-star rating. I mean, wow. And if you add in the 4-star reviews, you're looking at 90% of readers who absolutely loved it. That kind of reception? It's just incredibly rare.
And we're not talking about a small niche audience here. This is over 78,000 people who've taken the time to rate this book. It has quietly built this massive, dedicated following, pretty much all through word of mouth. So what is it about this story that's getting such a passionate response?
Well, take a look at this quote from a Goodreads reviewer named Tracy. The reactions aren't just, yeah, that was pretty good. They're deeply emotional. This isn't just a good book for these readers. For a lot of them, it's a life-changing one. So what is the book that's inspiring all this passion?
It all starts with the story's premise, which centers on a stranger who shows up in a town called Golden. The novel at the heart of all this buzz is called Theo of Golden. And on the surface, it's an incredibly simple story. But that's exactly where all of its power comes from.
Here it is, Theo of Golden, the debut novel by Alan Levy. And its plot is every bit as simple and gentle as its cover might suggest. It's a story built entirely around giving, seeing the absolute best in other people, and the quiet, incredible power of kindness. So, the whole thing kicks off when our main character, this enigmatic 86-year-old guy named Theo, moves to the small city of Golden. Nobody knows who he is or why he's there, but his arrival starts a chain of events that will change the entire town forever. Okay, so here's the core idea. Theo walks into a local coffee shop and finds the walls covered with 92 stunning pencil portraits of the townspeople. He's so moved that he decides to go on this quiet little mission. He's going to buy every single portrait, track down each person, and give it to them as a gift. And that's it. That simple, generous act is the engine for the entire novel. But here's where it gets really interesting. The story of how the book itself came to be is almost as fascinating as the fiction inside it. Because this self-published phenomenon was, by all accounts, a complete accident. You see, the author, Alan Levy, never actually meant to write a bestseller. He literally just wanted to see if he had the discipline to finish a novel. Publishing it? That wasn't even on his radar. It was purely a personal challenge just for him. And before he was a novelist, Levi was an attorney and a judge. And the inspiration for the story wasn't some grand, complicated idea. It came from a real experience. He was sitting in a coffee shop in his own hometown and saw dozens of real pencil portraits hanging on the walls. And right there, in that moment, the exact same thought that drives Theo's mission in the book popped into the author's own head. That simple, generous impulse, well, that became the seed for the entire novel. And get this, there was no big publisher. Levi and his niece did it all themselves. She was the one handling the marketing, the social media, the Amazon listings, the whole shebang. It was a true grassroots effort that, against all odds, found a huge audience.
At the end of the day, commercial success was never the point. For Levi, the only metric that mattered was a deeply personal and spiritual one. He really saw the book as an offering, something he made for God. Any sales or popularity, that was just a bonus.
So now that we know the story behind the book, let's unpack the philosophy of the character himself, because the name Theo, as you might guess, was chosen for a very specific reason.
The name Theo comes directly from the Greek word for God, theos. The author intentionally used it as, in his words, a nod to deity. It's meant to hint at the divine, the sacred, and something everlasting. Levi's core message here is that the qualities we admire in Theo, his generosity, his grace, his kindness, they aren't exclusive to him. He believes that because we're all created in God's likeness, that divine Theo DNA exists in every single one of us. But the inspiration for Theo wasn't just philosophical, it was also deeply, deeply personal. Levi actually modeled the character after his younger brother, Gary, who passed away 12 years ago. He calls Gary his hero, a man whose quiet generosity was the real-life blueprint for Theo's mission.
But let's be real, no book is beloved by everyone. And the very things that make so many readers fall head over heels in love with Theo of Golden are the same exact things that make other readers, well, not love it so much. So let's look at this great divide.
The whole debate really boils down to this. On one side, you have readers who see it as a heartwarming masterpiece. They praise its beautiful prose and its profound message. But on the other side, you have readers who, while they admit the writing is beautiful, criticize it for having no real plot, for being slow, and for what some call a preachy tone.
This review from Canadian Jen just perfectly captures how the fans feel. For them, reading this book is a spiritual experience. It's not about plot twists or suspense. It's about feeling something profound. About, well, tasting a little bit of heaven.
And here is the perfect counterpoint, put really well by a reviewer named Cody. He admires the writing, but he feels like the novel is missing a core story to push it forward. For him, all that beautiful language just couldn't make up for what he saw as a lack of plot.
And finally, we have to talk about the faith element. This reviewer calls it a sneak attack Christian novel. And for many, that really is the dividing line. For some, the Christian themes are the absolute heart and soul of the book. For others, it's an unexpected and sometimes unwelcome element. It truly depends on what you're looking for as a reader.
So at the end of the day, that's the question the book really leaves us with. Is this just a sweet, gentle story about being kind to one another? Or, through its quiet hero and its message of seeing the divine in everyone, is it something more? A profound statement on how we are truly meant to live our lives? I guess the answer, really, is up to the reader.